I think back to one difficult transaction where at the closing table, this couple was there, and the the lady of the house, she gets done at the closing table and gives me a big hug, and
Mm.
I was appreciative of that. It's not the first time that's happened, but I walk out to the parking lot and go to get my car, and she comes walking up to my car and with tears running down her eyes, hugs me again and says, "We know how hard you killed yourself to make that happen for us. You've changed our life."
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I am your host, Hugh Edmonds, and I'm excited to be here today. I have someone that kind of speaks my language when he talks about organic relationships, organic referrals. Like, I am a person, I believe in relationships, but I want them to be organic. So I love this gentleman because he talks about the process of just letting relationships grow organically. If he's going to have referrals, they're going to come organically through the relationships that he's built through the years. I love his background. I'm hoping I can get him to talk about his background a little bit more. But I just want to introduce you all to Mr. Chris Horrell. Mr. Chris, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, sir, I thank you so much for being here. And honestly, I want to dive in. I want you to tell the people what your main focus is these days. If you wanted to give us an origin story, like I said, we love origin stories. So you want to tell us how you got into real estate? We would love to know that. And then also tell us what part of the world you're in, Mr. Chris. And so, sir, you have the floor.
Sure. I am first off located in upstate of South Carolina in the Greenville area. Born and raised here, and I've lived a couple other places for short periods of time. Loved it, enjoyed it, but coincidentally was drawn back to here maybe because I like the weather, like the outdoors, the seasons, all of that. And it was a little more about what kind of led me where I'm at, and I think what motivates and has kind of set the principles by which I operate by is that um, prior to getting into real estate full time 5 years ago, I had previous to that, I had 15 years in local law enforcement, the sheriff's office. As cliche as it sounds, I got into the business or into that job rather just to help people. Well, I enjoyed it, that many years, and most of those years were spent on the road, staying a number of injuries, and I was on the SWAT team there as well, which is a tier one team for a number of years as an entry operator. So got to experience a lot of things, some good, some bad, all of the above. But it's one of those things that each and every one of those experiences has definitely molded me, but also I think probably created a lot of disciplines that I realized that have benefited me in the real estate business. And what kind of led me to real estate was just the fact that I had, in the Southeast, law enforcement they barely get paid enough to pay the basic bills. So I had a background in construction previous to that. So I would do some investment flips as I could. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I really enjoy this. And I stepped away from law enforcement and moved into real estate with the first year being with a team, which I felt like I was being held back. So I went out
Mm.
on my own after a 1 year commitment. Hadn't looked back since. It was kind of unusual in that I was, when I left the team, coincidentally, I was told that I didn't have a plan and I would fall flat on my face
Mm.
by my rainmaker, which I took that as a challenge because don't tell me I can't do something. So in my mind, in fact, I actually told my wife, I said, at our brokerage, which was pretty large, had about a couple hundred agents, large for our area, has a production board. You can see where everybody ranks monthly in volume. So, and in my mind, I was like, I just want to be above my rainmaker of the team 1 month this year. And I worked pretty hard to get there. And
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
that was January of 21. There hadn't been a single month since then where I wasn't. So, and he was the rainmaker. And for me, I never said anything, but it's just one of those things. I took it as a challenge because I didn't know what I was getting into. And that's why he expected me to fail. But referring back to my background, like the mindset of you do whatever it takes, whether it's to survive or get a job done, you do whatever it takes to find a way to solve a problem. So I find myself thinking back to a lot of the difficult deals that I've made happen, a lot of which I've had other agents say, "Why didn't you walk away or refer that out? Why would you take that on?" And I think back that for every difficult challenge, I learned something from it. And there's multiple other transactions that I would have never made it through had I not taken some other challenges on. But I think back to and kind of going back to your initial question, getting into law enforcement to help people is one thing, but I think I get so much satisfaction out of being in real estate is that I create relations. I get to meet people and I'm helping people in a powerful way. When I look back at, I help people make a financial decision that builds wealth. And while everybody needs a house to live in, I review every transaction with them and say, hey, if life happens and you're forever home, you have to sell it next month. Are you going to make money? Is it going to be a good deal? Can I help them make future transactions and make money? And I've even had clients that I went to and said, hey, if you invest about 5 or 10 grand in your house, I can get you 20 grand more. We don't have the money. I see those as opportunities where I've invested my own money in their own house to make some upgrades, knowing that I'm going to make $75 more in compensation, which is menial and not worth the time and trouble and the risk, but make them another $20,000. And those kind of relationships, people appreciate that. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of those, helping people do those things. And so that's kind of, in a nutshell, what has led me to get into real estate and what I appreciate about it, and has driven me in a lot of different ways because I focus not as much on cold calling or buying leads, but creating relationships. I have a lot of large and small client events. I might have over 100 people at, and I never talk about real estate. I just want to hear about how they're doing, how the family's doing, and whether it's a past client or a future client. And I recommend that to a lot of agents out there is that focus on the relationships. Everything else will come, because typically clients don't come to you because of the brokerage that's on your letterhead. They come to you because you're you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So listen, you've led our conversation off, even when we was talking backstage, you've led it off talking about relationships. So we're going to end with relationships. But before we get there, I want to dig a little bit more into you, if I'm being honest, because as I say this a lot of times on podcasts, destiny has no wasted moments, right? And I think you've proven that, because every reiteration of your life or career, however you want to say it, you have tools that have helped you there that you kind of transferred over now. And I'll tell you, like, what I hear when I hear you talk, you got into law enforcement to help people, but now even in real estate, you feel like you're helping even more people in a more dynamic way. So obviously there's something innate in you that want to help people. So what are some of those personal strategies, personal tools, personal things that kind of reinforce the person that you are, the one that continue to help people along your journey in life?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
I think there's a twofold answer to that, or two-sided answer. One is, the client, and one is me, in that, I've made it a point. I've made it a point. I don't know if you've heard the term of care calls. I do lots of care calls and care texts. It's not to get leads. It's because I want to see how they're doing. See on Facebook, they had a baby. See on Facebook that their dog died. I can relate to both of those, and they're both, pretty intense moments for anyone. But just touching base, whether it's commenting on social media and saying, hey, when you have a quick moment because you see them. I have a 6-foot tall board next to my a desk here that is covered with names of people that I've done care calls, and there's a reason, and I make sure to check on them every so often. I've heard horrible news and found out that there was a need, and tried to fill those shoes and show up and help where I can. But those are the things that help them. But I think for me, I enjoy it as much as they do, because I get to, whether it's one client who's a professional baker that shows up with a box load of the world's most amazing cookies, better than Chick-fil-A.
Oh, come on now.
It- by creating those relationships, it's not just about what I can do for them. It is to me, but I'm creating relationships that folks then become my friends. And I tell most folks, most of my clients, 75% of them remain friends. And I have get-togethers, and I invite them over to the house and things like that. And over the years, those numbers continue to grow and be more difficult. But like I said, it creates a friendship and a loyalty both ways. And I always want to look out for them, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I think back to one difficult transaction where at the closing table, this couple was there, and the lady of the house, she gets done at the closing table and gives me a big hug. And I was appreciative of that. It's not the first time that's happened, but I walk out to the parking lot and go to get my car, and she comes walking up to my car and with tears running down her eyes, hugs me again and says, "We know how hard you killed yourself to make that happen for us. You've changed our life. I want you to know we appreciate that." And she walks, blown away. She walks back to her car, sets her stuff down, and she's still crying. And she comes back and just hugs me again and just reiterates. And I'm like, it was that moment that stuck with me. And that was relatively early on in my career, but it was that moment that I went from going, I'm still transitioning from the law enforcement mindset where you feel like, most people hate you. And you're just coming because they called you, to a different spot where I'm still helping people, still doing things, still changing lives in a very positive way, whether it's giving them an awesome home, helping them on an investment deal, which I have a lot of investors that I work with. I do a number of have a number of investments of my own that I work on. All the above, all of those things are helping change lives in a positive way. So for me, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that I realized early on, and try to focus on just doing what I like doing, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And of course, we haven't known each other for essentially a long time, but I can just hear your through line, your consistency of organic relationships, building relationships, helping people. Like I told you, I'm gonna end there because we really want to drive that home. But I do want to know, what is the next real goal for you? Like, what are you looking to solve or scale next?
So in March of 25, I've been posting occasional YouTube videos and things like that, just like about any other investor or realtor. But I really made a focused where contracted a company, spared no expense, and doing regular weekly long form videos and plenty of shorts and things like that. But everybody wants to add value, and there's a lot of agents, and over the last 2 years, a lot of agents have jumped on YouTube as well. And my focus, because I'm born and raised here, and I don't know how much you know about Greenville, South Carolina, but it is a very unique, very cool, big, small town. Charlotte's bigger than we are, but very similar, but a lot more affordable here. What's interesting is, well, recently I think you probably read, U-Haul came out with their latest stats saying, South Carolina is now the #1 state to move to, with most going to Charleston or Greenville, two very different towns. And the luxury custom builder that I work with pretty close is based out of Charleston, but has a branch here that I work with. So it's two very different towns. But it's one of those things where it's just like, if we can, sorry, lost my train of thought there a little bit. Apologize.
No problem.
Ran off on a tangent there, but
No problem. So we was talking about the goals, and I think he was talking about.
Yeah. So
There you go.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
yeah, sorry. So I kind of have tried to incorporate a little bit of what we've already talked about as far as creating relationships and sharing the lifestyle of the upstate. It is a lifestyle. And of course, no one place is for everybody, but I focused, mildly on real estate, what you can get for this much, that kind of thing. But more than anything, the different types of lifestyles are here because there's so many different ones. Each of my videos, I'm real big into the outdoors too, which is a very common thing for the upstate. But it's also very family oriented. There's a lot of green spaces, outdoor spaces where, mom and dad can sit over here and have a, glass of wine, or there's lots of breweries, things like that, while the kids are out there playing in the green space. There's a band over here with some music playing, and we have a lot of great weather except for January and February. Tends to be cool. But I'm really focused on just making people feel what it's like to be here. So I get calls pretty regularly. I was, filming this week's video last week, get back in the car, and there's a text message from somebody in Dunedin, Florida, saying, "Hey, would you mind giving me a call? I'd like to relocate." Have a 20-minute conversation with them, have them set up, because they follow that channel. They see enough about it to learn and, understand that, hey, this guy's from there. I mean, I worked the streets for 15 years, so I know every street in town and everything there is to know about it, born and raised here. So I'm able to share with them. And I asked them, and much like a podcast, I interviewed them and find out what makes them tick, what they're interested in. And sometimes I'll tell them, hey, this area, not for you. But then I can also, share that information and show a value. But in doing so, even that remotely, without ever meeting these people, I create a relationship with them by helping them and be empowered in making their decision to relocate here or not to relocate here. But I think the empowerment is probably the most important thing there. But to answer your question, that's kind of how I've integrated the two. And it creates connections that way as well. A lot of folks tell me, hey, I watched all your videos. I feel like I know you so well already. Because I talk about me and what makes me tick and how it applies here. And, that's not going to be of interest to everybody, but it's real.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. I want to put the bow or the cherry on top when it comes to relationships. I want to drive this home because, like I said, you started our conversation talking about relationships. So I want to end our conversation talking about relationships. So I want to ask you, because this is what I hear. I hear that relationships matter to you. And I want to know point blank, why is it that relationships matter to you so much? Why is it important to make these connections? Why is it important to make people feel comfortable? Why is it important to be your authentic self, showing people why they should come to South Carolina or the lifestyle of South Carolina, and you connecting that with really relating to them? So why is relationships so important to you?
Let's say 3 reasons. I have maybe more than 3, but family is important to me. People knowing their value is important to me. As I mentioned, working in law enforcement in the Southeast, most typically work every day off just to make ends meet, doing other things. So the money's not great. So I do work with a lot of law enforcement. I'm a founding member of a 14-year-old nonprofit law enforcement charity as well. And that's a whole nother story as to how that came to. So I work with a lot of law enforcement. I sponsor a lot of different things at different law enforcement agencies because I as I told the sheriff of our local agency, is, the things that I have, my successes in real estate, I directly attribute to the thousands of front porches that I had to stand on at 2 a.m. and in 5 minutes figure out
Mm.
that person that I'm talking with, figure out what makes them tick, what will fix the situation, what will make them happy. How do we solve this for the, the greatest good, or make a bad and make it a good, or mitigate the issues. And I apply that in law enforcement, or in real estate from law enforcement,
Yeah.
in hopes of, you know, just being able to help others make wise decisions and financial decisions that will benefit them in the future, because I didn't have that advantage, early on, because I didn't know those things. And we all wish we knew, 10 years ago what we now know.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I just want to share that knowledge with others. It sounds arrogant, but I put every 110% into everything I do. Um, and I'll touch on this real quick too. But some folks said, "You really feel comfortable working with friends and family?" I'm like, absolutely. Had this conversation with somebody yesterday. Said, I honestly prefer to, and here's why. Because I know they're not going to be in any better hands. I know there's a lot of good agents out there, but I also know how I take on a transaction, how I'll handle it, what I'm willing to do for them. And there's no one else I know that will do that quite like I will. And I have their best interest in mind, because I've talked myself out of a job on more than one occasion. And I have walked away from from decent amounts of money for the greater good of them. Or, in one particular case, I uh, wanted to work a charity and had to give up thousands of dollars to see to it that this client was cared for,
Mm.
because I'd already committed to do work for a week for this charity. It's one of those things that, very, very principle based, but it's collectively, I know I gave you more than one answer, but collectively, I think those things coming together really are what drives me. And I think that is what motivates me.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Chris, it makes total sense, man. Again, this might be probably be the first time I've repeated this twice in a podcast, but destiny has no wasted moments. And when I look at you, that that statement rings true even more and more as I listen to you talk. And so I sincerely thank you for being here today. If someone wanted to reach out to you, connect with you, collaborate with you, learn more about what you're doing, what's the best way that they can get in contact with you, Mr. Chris?
Phone's always the best way. Phone call, text. My YouTube channel is Greenville SC Living with Chris Horrell. My website, pretty extensive. It's just Chris Horrell Realtor. Pretty easy to remember, but I imagine we can drop that in there. But phone number is really the best way. I'd love to communicate. I like coaching and mentoring if somebody has something they're trying to do, because at the same time, I've done the same thing with others where I have an idea that I have and I want to integrate. I look out there and find out who's good at it.
Yeah.
And I always love meeting new people and seeing what works for them, and always helping, seeing how I can help others too. So
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Chris, again, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. This time is definitely precious and valued. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate your story walking us through. Thank you for your perspective, your mindset, bringing that mindset to this podcast. And man, thank you for your service. Thank you for the way you have served the community and the way you still serve the community. And so I really appreciate you being here today, sir.
appreciate it. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So listen, you guys can't tell me y'all didn't get the value from Mr. Chris. You've heard it. Check him out, collaborate with him, connect with him, but definitely make sure you are subscribed here, because I promise we're going to continue to bring up incredible people just like Mr. Chris. So, sir, thank you again. And everyone else, we'll see you on the next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.